The Chiefs' official schedule has been dropped. We're going to take a deep dive into that today and see if we want to switch any of our official picks. Plus, we answer your questions from Twitter. Stick around.
Chiefs Kingdom. It's time for All Chiefed Up with your hosts, Steve and Mike Williams. From the Bluegrass to the Red Sea, this is the Kingdoms Podcast.
Not everybody can have, the easy road like Tom Brady did for 20 years, where he was playing the biggest scrub teams twice a year. I mean, Mahomes don't get that luxury. He's going to be playing like really good top teams within the division. I mean, he don't get the free 6 games every year like, Brady did. So when everybody starts that comparison, they have to remember that.
And then now that he goes to Tampa Bay, like Drew Brees ups and leaves, the Saints become horrible. The Falcons are just pathetic. The Panthers are also just horrible, and Christian McCaffrey disappeared off the face of the planet.
It follows
what
him.
happened?
I think that's why he picked Tampa Bay. I'm like, a lot of people think he picked Tampa Bay because of the location, and he's getting older, and it's a good spot to be. It's great weather and all that good stuff. I honestly think that was strategic, man. I think he picked it because he knew that division was on the down, and I think that's part of Tom Brady's formula. He knows if he can get an easy 6 wins during the season, that he's always going to have a chance to have that number 1 seed in the playoffs and then get to the Super Bowl.
Right. And let's be honest, that's why he won't retire. That's why he come back this year. You look at that division, the Falcons have nobody, the Panthers have nobody, and the Saints are rolling with Jameis Winston. And don't get me wrong, the Saints usually beat the Bucks during the season, which is hilarious. But none of those teams scream that they've done enough to even start to compete with Tampa Bay. So why doesn't Brady come back another year, play mediocre football the whole way and get praised and then get a walk to the Super Bowl? It's like, this guy, he'll play forever in this division.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if he don't retire and then sign with the Commanders and play another 10 years in the NFC East. That's probably his new plan. That's his 10-year plan.
Kind of on the subject of quarterbacks and their success. I saw a tweet on Twitter. It was from @ChiefStorm2. He posted a graphic of Patrick Mahomes saying 4 seasons as a starter, 4 AFC championship appearances. And he wrote, "I'm going to be real, Chiefs Kingdom. This is unacceptable. 1 ring and 4 trips. We have to do better. Pat Mahomes' legacy year." Okay, so what's your thoughts on that?
So is he saying that who's he blaming for this? Is he saying Patrick Mahomes is the reason he's been there 4 times and not won? Or is he saying our franchise as a whole hasn't done enough to help Mahomes?
I think that's the sentiment he's trying to put out there, is that the team as a whole has to do better, that maybe Patrick Mahomes has got us to an AFC championship 4 years in a row and we've only won 1 Super Bowl. But you could easily take that the other way around and say Mahomes is, he's got us to the AFC championship for 4 years, but we've only got 1 ring out of it. So that's a failure. Right. But I mean, I don't care which way you look at it. I think it's kind of it's a bad take in my opinion. I mean, I don't think there's anything unacceptable about getting to 4 straight AFC championships. I think that's an amazing accomplishment. And I think the team's been fantastic for the last 4 years, and we've been right there. We've been competitive. We've had a chance to be in the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl for the last 4 years. And that, to Chiefs fans, prior to Mahomes, was unheard of.
Yeah, but I get where he's coming from a little bit, though. If you say it's Mahomes' fault, I'm going to tell you you're an idiot. Mahomes has done everything he can to get us where we are. If you want to look at team as a little bit of a letdown, it has been. It's hard to get to 4 straight, but at the same time, we're squandering Kelsey's last few years. Mahomes might be great, but look at Aaron Rodgers. He's great, but once it gets to the playoffs, he can't find a way to get there and win either. So it's one of those things where it's like the team does have to shoulder a little responsibility. I mean, look at us against the Bucks. We should have beat the Bucks or at least been competitive, but what was happening? Patrick Mahomes was running for his life, and all of our receivers were dropping balls, hitting them in the hands. Nobody would block. So, yeah, that was a team failure. If you look at last year, us blowing 2 games to the Bengals was a team failure. And, yes, Patrick Mahomes had a big thing in that in the second half where he just looked like he was playing blindfolded. But, I mean, come on. It was the team doing it. Like, something happened at the half. Like,
he turned into Mark Sanchez at halftime.
Yeah, it's like So I get where he's coming from. Like this, we have been a feared, like dynasty level franchise, and we have one to show for it. And then the other Super Bowl, we just got completely blown off the field in embarrassing fashion. So it's like,
Right.
I get where he's coming from. Like
I
this
get it.
team has been good enough that we should have won. We
Just
should
like
have won 3 Super Bowls.
Just like all the rest of conversations we had today, it's all about perspective. I mean, if you look at it one way, yeah, we blew some chances with the D Ford crap, and then blowing this last game against the Bengals, and then of course the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay was a nightmare. But I mean, just you can also look at it the other way and be like, hey man, we've been in there, we've been competitive. That's 4 straight AFC championships.
Well, let's be honest with the D Ford thing. If that was against any team other than Brady and the Patriots, D Ford wouldn't have got called for that.
Well, it's not that they wouldn't have called him for it because he was.
Well, they would have given him
obviously
a warning.
Right. The line judge would have said, hey, scoot back like they do every other play of the
But
game.
also, in
I
that
mean?
perspective, it's like that was the key important play of the game. And I don't even think D Ford had a hand in like Brady throwing the pick, did he?
No,
I didn't even think
he
he
wasn't
got
even
there.
part of the play.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
That's a Brady thing.
All right. So sticking on the QB thing, we just talked about Mahomes and his success so far and Brady and his success. I also saw a quote from Nate Burleson on Good Morning Football. He said, if there's any young QB that has come into the league and reminded us of the GOAT, it's Joe Burrow. That seems to be a popular opinion among a lot of people, and I don't understand it. Can you make me understand how anyone sees Joe Burrow and the fact that he's got a losing record in the NFL, that he's the GOAT?
He's unathletic and he's white. That's it. Like, why don't in a day and age where we like supposed to embrace black athletes and black coaches and athletes of color, but yet they don't want to give Mahomes any credit whatsoever. They want to give it to the unathletic white boy in Cincinnati.
Well, I mean,
Like,
it goes to show
this
you.
is-
I mean, that also you got Lamar, you got other quarterbacks that are just as good or better than Joe Burrow that they don't
Yeah.
even put in the conversation. And it's like, is that what we're doing here? Obviously, this is Nate Burleson saying this, so that's not the case here. But I do feel like that's the case sometimes. I feel like are you looking for your white knight quarterback with Joe
Dude,
Burrow? Like
Joe-
he's the poster boy, the all-American child. Like no
We
one
could
cares, man.
have-
Let's look at it. Let's look at his play on the field. The fact that he has what we're getting ready to talk about in just a second, possibly the best wide receiver trio in the league. And he's still, granted they got to the Super Bowl this last season, but like I said on the last episode, I mean, they were a 10-7 team. They lucked their way to where they got. I'm not saying they didn't work for it, but they did catch a lot of luck along the way. And I just do not see anyone putting that tag on Joe Burrow right now. If he comes out this season, just tears, the league apart, and the Bengals go back to the Super Bowl, then we'll talk. But right now, just shut up about it.
Dude, we could have a whole episode on why Joe Burrow is the most overrated quarterback in football. I'm telling
It's
you
so
right
bad.
now, he sucks. Like, let's be honest. The dude has a losing record in the NFL. And it would have been a lot worse than it is if he wouldn't have got injured his first season. He missed 6, 7, 8 games. So if he had played in those, he probably loses, 80% of them, if not more. He should probably be 7 games below 500 right now as an NFL quarterback. And as you alluded to, I mean, besides his offensive line not being the greatest, their defense is always pretty serviceable. Joe Mixon is probably a top 10 running back in football.
Easy.
And then you've got the best wide receiver trio possibly of anybody. So it's like, we know that this is true. Joe Burrow is completely overrated.
Yep.
He sucks. I don't even want to talk about Joe Burrow anymore. It's going to be so fun watching Mahomes just monkey stomp them all over the field in Cincinnati this year. And if they don't do it, if him and Reed find a way to screw this up and lose to Burrow 3 straight times, we'll never hear the end of it. Like, Joe Burrow will get a statue erected. He might go on the, what's it called? The presidential, the
Mount
statue.
Rushmore?
Yeah. They might put Burrow on Rushmore.
Well, the most annoying thing about it is he probably had the least amount to do with them getting to the Super Bowl last year, because the only reason they even got past the Chiefs was strictly by a scheme change on defense and the Chiefs falling apart. Burrow did not play that well, guys. And not to mention, He always has Jamar Chase bailing him out on third and longs. He's just tossing the ball in there. Me or you could, throw a moonshot out there and hope to God he pulls it down. I mean, people just don't really look at that stuff. But hey, let's move on. Let's move on. I'm tired of Burrow too.
Please,
We're going to
God.
talk about it just a little bit more because I did want to cover where PFF put out a shot of Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and says name a better wide receiver trio in the league. Can you do it? And I was like, well, like at first, when I first saw it, first impression was like, sure, I can. And then I started thinking about it, maybe I can't. So let's just discuss that a little bit. Do you know any other wide receiver trios that could be as good or better than Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins?
Jeez. I off the top of my head, it's tough because I can name duos, but when you get to that third one, that's where it gets a little fishy.
It
Like
makes it tough.
I would say, Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, and Robert Woods last year was probably as effective or better.
They're
But
gone
I
now,
think
though.
Robert Woods is gone now, and I don't
Yeah,
know if Beckham's going to sign there.
right.
I'm not going to say the Chiefs receivers. Let's be honest. I know we all want to say, oh, it looks like Juju and Hardman, but we don't know how that's going to play out. I
Well,
couldn't even name the top three that could be on the team next year. It may be a surprise, and Justin Ross could be a top three.
I
Like,
would
who
be willing to
knows?
bet. I would be willing to bet by the end of next season, though, that you could pick three receivers from the Chiefs and hold them in the same light as this team. I think that's how good this offense is going to be this year. I think Mahomes is going to eat with this new wide receiver crew, and of course Travis Kelsey. So I think you could probably pull three and be just as good. But off the top of my head, man, I couldn't think of a trio better. So they might be onto something here. Maybe that is the best wide receiver trio. I mean, you kind of just your brain automatically goes to the big time receivers like Devontae Adams, which he does have Hunter Renfro, but who's the third there? And then
Demarcus Robinson.
right, get out of here with that. So I mean, maybe you could go Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and who do they got as the third? There's always so I think if you go by a trio, I think the Bengals do have that, and that just alludes more to the fact that Joe Burrow has like the best wide receiver trio in football, and he's still got a losing record in football. And I just want to see what happens this season. I'm so sick of that whole thing. So I'd like to see how that plays out this year.
I think the Chargers have a good chance with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and I would say maybe Josh Palmer. If he comes on this year, he could be looked as a very good, option at them as a number three. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Like maybe if Michael Thomas comes back healthy, pairing him with Jarvis Landry and
Olave.
Yeah, Olave, but we haven't seen Olave play a snap yet. So it's
Is that
hard to
Is that who they got? Okay.
it was Olave. So it's like there's potential, but yeah, it's tough to have three solid names, which if I'm not mistaken, this is Tyler Boyd's last season in Cincy, unless they re-sign him, I think.
Hey, I'm just gonna go ahead. As much as I hate the Bengals, I'll give them that. I think right now they're the best wide receiver trio in the league. So let's see what the GOAT does with that this year, and then we'll talk about him.
Yeah,
But
could you imagine? Brady never had three wide receivers of that caliber at one time.
or Mahomes, nor nobody. Like nobody's really had three big time receivers at one time.
Dude,
Not off the
hey,
top of my head.
I'm going to talk about this really quick. I was talking to somebody the other day and they're talking about the Chiefs depth. And I was like, do you realize when we had Tyreek Hill, our number 2 was DeMarcus Robinson, dude. And then we had Byron Pringle and Miko somehow maybe given a little bit of catches at times. But that was literally his number 2 was DeMarcus Robinson. Like
That's sad.
This dude sucks. And then you're gonna now our number 2 is who? Like, is it Juju? Is it Miko? Is it MVS? Is it Sky Moore? It doesn't even matter, but all of them are better than DeMarcus Robinson. So how do you say if Tyreek Hill was a 1 out of 10, he's a 10 wide receiver? Okay, well, maybe we don't have a 10, but DeMarcus Robinson was like a 5. So we went from a 10 to a 5 as 1 and 2. And now you're probably cruising at like 2 7s. I would rather have the 2 7s or 8s over a 10 and a 5.
Even though Tyreek Hill's gone, the come up in the wide receiver room is real and it is better. And I think you'll see that is the case early on in the season when you start seeing Mahomes slinging the ball around. We talked about Jarvis Landry for a second. I don't know why I can't talk today. He signed with the Saints. There are some Chiefs fans still out there mad that we did not sign Jarvis Landry. And I've been trying to wrap my head around that when I don't feel like there's room for him in the wide receiver room. I feel like when he first came out into free agency, his agent was literally expecting to get $20 million a year for Jarvis Landry. Now he just signed for a 1-year, $6 million deal. So, I mean, where are Chiefs fans' heads at with that? Is it the old, oh, cool, there's a shiny new toy, we need it? Or is there something to that?
Okay. Let's do a quick little fun game, and we're gonna see where Jarvis Landry fits. Would you rather have Jarvis Landry? Jarvis Landry can't play MVS. He can't play his role, that X that he's probably gonna play, right? Or the whichever one he's gonna play. He's not gonna play that big receiver. So you can't even compare those two. Would you rather have Jarvis Landry or Juju?
Juju.
Would you rather have Jarvis Landry or Mecole Hardman?
Mecole Hardman.
Yeah. Would you rather have Jarvis Landry or a young Sky Moore? I'm going to take my chance with Sky Moore.
I would take my chances with Sky Moore.
So Jarvis Landry comes in and he's 5th, and that's only if you want to put him above Justin Ross, who I would probably rather have the potential of Justin Ross.
Yeah, if Justin Ross can be healthy, then yeah, I would take him.
So why bring in Landry, who's old? He's going to have a lot of like contract money. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I don't understand that one at all, but there's still some people that are harping about it, man.
Dude,
I don't understand it. But one thing I have noticed on Chiefs Twitter, though, they're actually starting to come around and be on team all chiefed up here with the fact that the NFL and Tyreek Hill's, romance going on right now is unreal. Like, I actually saw one post today where a member of Chiefs Kingdom was just like, hey, man, I don't know if you guys realize this, but the NFL was not hanging on Tyreek's nuts like this when he was at, KC. But now that he's a Dolphin, all of a sudden he's the greatest receiver ever. So, yeah, I think people starting to catch on to that, too.
Dude, if Patrick Mahomes was to ever one day wake up and want to leave Kansas City and he was to go somewhere like Dallas, you would never hear the end. We would have a 24/7 live cam of Patrick Mahomes' life.
Yeah, he would instantly be better than Tom Brady, and
this is why
it's crazy.
This is exactly why we say it all the time. Big time free agents don't want to consider Kansas City a lot. Whether we win, I mean, look, you've got the best quarterback in football and the winningest team over the past 7-8 years, and you can't hardly get anybody to even want to come here because they know that you just kind of fall into Midwest obscurity with the media, and they want to be self-centered and money hungry, which is why Tyreek Hill wanted out. Let's be completely honest with that. He knew if he goes to Miami, he's going to be on the nutsack of every single reporter and channel there is that covers the NFL.
Which is crazy because Miami, when's the last time Miami even had a good team? And it's just like, wow, I know, it's just a market.
It's a big market, yeah.
You've been listening to All Chiefed Up. Be sure to subscribe and follow on all social media at All Chiefed Up.